Urgent just one reaction. This is breaking news. North Korean troops withdraw from Kursk. Russia warns of mass bankruptcy. This was 3 weeks ago. What the hell? What was that for then? I guess I'm sure it served some purpose, but I don't know, man. Russia was running out of people, so I'm guessing they just withdrew from Kursk, planning to attack again. Because what is the point of like partnership with North Korea if you can't get anything out of it, right? Maybe it like bought them some time, like geopolitics when it comes to it, like something always have some purpose behind it, regardless of the result, right? That's how things work there. And a partnership with like artilleries and I don't know, like they can help North Korea. Even Russia has now, right after like wartime economy and being at war, and after having million sanctions put on them, Russia has like a interest if they want to like help out North Korea with everything, giving them like some kind of a technology for submarines, technology for this, technology for that, right? Giving them technology because if North Korea becomes military wise powerful, technological wise powerful enough at the global stage, right? If a war type shit happens in the future, if the Axis gets formed, you can rely on North Korea and their equipments and their economy, military equipments that you help them develop. Now you have yourself, you can like go to some major powers, maybe like China or something. I don't know why would China want to do that. China's like really rich now. It's like why mess with that, right? Why would China want to go to war at this point? To me it feels weird. I don't think China will ever do that, but maybe China, maybe Iran, right? So you can create this access. So Russia has like interest now to help out some country like that, definitely, right? But even then, like, okay, North Korean troops like withdraw. I don't know. We'll see the what real detail behind this is. This is just the title. So yeah, let's do this one. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way, I know which type of videos to react to more, and like, the more engagement some video gets, I react to it more because I've watched many different type of video, history, and ongoing conflict like this, geopolitics, science, love science. But yeah, the more engagement a video gets, the more I'll try to react to it and comment down, right? Like I'll know what people want me to react to, I guess. Yeah, that's this one.
Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another Short War video, and today we have very big news coming out of Russia's Kursk region. That's because today we've heard that North Korean forces have been completely withdrawn from Kursk amidst taking extremely high losses from the Ukrainian forces. And of course, this is a very positive piece of news for the Ukrainians because the North Koreans were actually in Kursk in quite large numbers, and now they've been taken away from the fight completely, and they will not be an issue at least for the short term. So that's very positive news. But also on another front, we're hearing from economists that apparently there's a tsunami of bankruptcies about to happen in Russia amidst the Russian oil companies and also the tech industry that's about to cause the Russian economy to completely crumble, maybe sooner than later. So we're hearing that as well.
Yeah. When it comes to economy, it's very like weird thing, right? It's like you heard of the phrase like money has value because we say it has value. Again, there's more to it than just that. People just took that and it's like, oh, crypto will work. Not really, right? All the money has backing of the economy of the country and taxpayers. The US dollar has value because US economy is $40 trillion, and US basically that economy implies like how much every single citizen of that country has a value, like what contribution they will do to the world, right? That's how trade and everything works, right? That's what economy is basically. When it comes to Russia, Russia is like pre-Soviet, Soviet time economy, right? Like where they're basically doing no like uh, you know transaction with the world, right? So no Swift and things like that. And I don't know, it's mostly like wartime economy where goods and things have value. So they basically give oil and in turn take something like basically that's how they're doing trading, right? So what does bankruptcy mean in Russia, right? It could just basically mean like they're shifting effort, right? Because economy is very complex. You really need to see the detail, like how is that all working, because global economy wise Russian economy doesn't make sense that way because they are not tied to it anymore, because global economy is like basically run by western countries, right? European countries, US countries, China too now, right? And China is also in that sphere, right? So they are, Russia is already cut off from that. So what does that mean?
And also on another front, we're hearing from Zelensky that apparently the US is about to increase the aid, the military aid going to Ukraine
Really?
in the near future
Trump?
to combat the Putin threat. And also we've gotten footage showing a major drone attack by Ukrainian forces in Russian territory overnight, attacking several different regions. But with that, we're jumping into our first article of the day, which goes to the Kyiv Post. And this is by far our biggest story of the day. The Kyiv Post tells us that North Korean troops retreat from the Kursk region after suffering heavy losses, according to Sky.
Yeah, that photo was all wrong. North Korean troops are retreat from Kursk, and you see that Kim Jong, that's him, right? He just like, wait a minute, he went to there in the conflict? No, I no way in hell he went there. It's just a photo.
News, and instead of surrendering, the North Koreans are choosing to inflict damage upon themselves with grenades and poorly trained for modern warfare, and they ignore drones and artillery, launching futile assaults with up to 60 men at a time. And honestly, this is no shock right here. We've been knowing for actually over a month at least now that the North Koreans are taking insanely high losses because the Russians are putting them all in very bad positions on the front line, and they're basically...
That's fucked up. Like, they have to like keep going because their family is back home. Let's just say they might not be too safe if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Your own country, let's just say, don't care about your welfare as far. They only care about what result you give, and you're not trained that much. I don't even know. This is just fucked up, man. If you like walk away from oh, you know, I'm with Ukraine, I'm with Russia, and all that mentality, and just see at a human level, North Koreans is like, imagine their side of things, right? They're completely fucked. They can't express anything. They're used as a tool, right? There is no human, there's no human resources from North Korean side or something who looks for welfare of North Korean troops or something. They are not trained. It's all fucked up, man. When I really think about it, like these poor people, man, come on, this is insane.
Them as meat shields, and the North Koreans have been taking insanely high losses as a result of that. So this is not necessarily a shock, but also we're learning that apparently to avoid being captured, they're inflicting wounds upon themselves and also doing things to harm themselves to avoid being captured. So that's another thing we've heard as well. So the North Koreans are not faring well right now in Kursk whatsoever, and the Russians have actually withdrawn them completely from Kursk to get them away from the fighting, so that way the Russians don't trip over the North Koreans while they're trying to fight the Ukrainians as well. So right now in Kursk, it is just a melee between the North Koreans and the Russians. And
as exaggerated, obviously. Obviously that was a joke wise, but I'm guessing that what they're going to do is retreat and try to train North Koreans in that terrain, in that warfare, intelligence and everything before, because even Putin probably realized that, wait a minute, if I just do this, I'll run out of North Korean as well. That's then what I'm going to do. I need to preserve things now.
The Ukrainians are basically sitting back and watching what's happening right now while the Russians and North Koreans fall apart. So a very big incident with that, and once again, a big failure for the North Koreans. But jumping into our next article here, this one goes to Null Reports. And in this post right here, we get a little bit more information about what the Ukrainian soldiers think is the issue with the North Korean soldiers. And we can see here in the post that the Ukrainians are describing the North Koreans as brainwashed, and also that's no shock at all. They're definitely brainwashed by Kim Jong-un, and also that they try to erase...
Brainwashed, again, I like to psychoanalyze things, and I think about this a lot in my pastime, whatever, when I'm sitting in sofa. People are like, what the fuck is he thinking? This is what I'm thinking. I'm really psychology is one thing that because consciousness is something that we don't know. We don't even know we'll ever realize, realize it perfectly what consciousness is. Maybe we'll come close. But are they brainwashed, or they have to act brainwashed because there's no alternative, right? Brainwash imply they 100% believe it, right? This is what I believe, right? I don't care who says what. And there are people like that out there, sure, right? Certain people get brainwashed like that. Are these people brainwashed, or are these people so afraid? There's camera everywhere, there's mic everywhere. They can't even say anything wrong, even in an enclosed room, because their family is at home. And let's just say they might not be safe, like I said. So, but then again, all intents and purposes, that is equally as brainwashed, right? For the results, it's brainwashed.
Evidence of their presence after they leave the battlefield, and they also seem to be really untrained about drones, and they really don't know what they really are, and they don't know how to dodge them either, so they're taking quite a bit of drone losses as well. So once again, it's more proof that the tactics they're using are really behind the times, and they're not even trained properly. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to the Kyiv Post. And we've got some more bad economic news coming out of Russia, because we're hearing from the Kyiv Post that a tsunami of bankruptcies is crashing down on Russia, threatening to shake the economy to its core, according to a Kremlin-linked analytical center center headed by the brother of Defense Minister Belousov, and the sanctions and sky-high interest rates have pushed Putin's economy to the brink of collapse, and 1 in 5 manufacturers, coal companies, and hundreds of shopping malls, transportation firms, airlines, and IT companies face the threat of bankruptcy. So clearly
Again, like my realization is like Russia is mostly just cut off from the world economy. Is that the case? Or is that exaggeration? Because if that's not the case, I can understand where the bankruptcy element is coming from. But if they're completely cut off like how they were in the Soviet time, then all Putin will just do is like shift all that shit towards like military things, right? And make the economy military economy, right? But then he have to produce result, conquer places, because you can't just pretend to have an economy. You need results. If you're not doing global trading, then you have to steal shit from other people, which is conquering places. So if you can't conquer place, and if you're a military economy, that's not going to last long. You need results. You need to capture places if you're going to keep that economy.
very high number of industries facing extreme economic peril right now inside of Russia, and this is also something we've been reporting for at least a couple of weeks now, actually. This is about to happen, and it could happen within a couple of months or even less time than that, because it sounds like if the Kremlin-leaked economists are saying this is the people that are trying to cook the books saying this, then it must be really, really bad right now. We're not even really sure exactly how bad it is, because of course we don't have access to that info. Only Russia would know that. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to PSO1, and we get some more detail about the threat of large-scale bankruptcies within Russia. And these details are just mind-boggling, so listen to this. It says here, according to the stats, for more than 20% of manufacturing and defense industry enterprises, the burden of interest payments on profit at the end of 2024 was at a risky level exceeding 2/3 of their pre-tax profit, which is insane, by the way. That is horrific. Also, we're hearing here on another part of the stats that apparently the analysts are warning of economic surprises, and at the core of the whole issue is the tech companies within Russia. Apparently, the tech companies are at the highest risk of going bankrupt, and that's a bit of a shock to me, actually, because I thought that the oil companies would be the first to go, but it sounds like the Russian tech industry...
Yeah, Putin needs to protect its tech company. You need tech, man. You're not getting equipments from outside anymore. You need equipments that you can fight against Russia or compete against something like China or get it from China. I don't know, somehow. But you need your tech company, because modern warfare is all about tech. Without tech, there is no modern warfare. So if tech company goes, like, that's going to be a problem.
Might be the first to get hit, and it could be the first casualty of the upcoming collapse. We're also hearing here that the economists expect mass bankruptcies of the companies because the economy in Russia is unbalanced, and the reason is the lack of coordination between the actions of the central bank and the government. And it sounds like the economist is trying to blame the Russian central bank for the issue, but honestly, like, I'm not trying to stand up for the Russian central bank, but there's really not much they can do at this point because Putin is in the driver's seat. He's running the whole war right now, and that's what's destroying the economy. So nothing the central bank can do to actually reverse that is going to fix the situation. So it's just right now, it's all the mercy of Putin, and Putin is not backing off whatsoever, and he's about to drive this whole country to the point of collapse and bankruptcy completely. So very disturbing stats right there coming from PSO1. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to the Ukrainian Review. And we have some positive news here coming out of Ukraine from Zelensky himself. He says that the U.S. may actually increase aid to Ukraine, and it's not just about weapons, it's technology, anti-Russian sanctions, and political influence. And remember, that was said by Zelensky himself. This is not...
I don't know, man. Trump's going to do that because Trump was saying, like, oh, we're sending too much shit to Ukraine. Like, we need a better deal. But then again, Trump always talks about deal. So it's not like he's not going to send more. It's just like he needs more in long term or whatever, right? He's thinking in the future. Maybe he'll do some kind of a deal where if Ukraine wins, Ukraine is somewhat under debt to US or something, where they pay off eventually or something like that. I think Trump wants a better deal. He's not saying I'm not going to send anything, right? So it could be like Zelensky is like, oh, just like a dying man, right? So he probably is not going to care about it, right? Like, okay, you want something after we win, we'll worry about it then. Sure, I'll give it to you. But right now I need aid. So I think that kind of deal could have happened, right? I don't know.
Not a tabloid saying this. This is coming from the president of Ukraine. And Zelensky said, if half of the army goes home tomorrow, then we should have surrendered on the first day. And if half of the army goes home tomorrow, then Putin will simply eliminate most Ukrainians. So basically, Zelensky is saying right here that it's about simply surviving. It's about Ukraine's survival. And the U.S. understands that, according to Zelensky. So it sounds promising that more aid will be flown to Ukraine in the near future. And it sounds like the fears of pulling back on Ukraine aid on the United States end of things, it sounds like that was probably really overblown. So at least according to Zelensky right now, it sounds like things are all good. But with that, we are now moving into our next post here, and this one goes to Military News Ukraine. And we all know that the short war video would not be complete without some videos of Ukrainian drone attacks on mainland Russia, and we have
Oh no, I don't know if I can show this or not. We'll see.
exactly that. We're
Why can't an enforcer put this on? But if I put it like YouTube's like, oh, what the fuck? I'm guessing enforcer puts this video, put it up to review, and then he posts it. But this is like breaking news element, so he needs to do it fast. But sometimes YouTube takes 7 days to review shit, right? And I'm not talking about monetization. Fuck that. Okay, fine. Who cares about monetization? I'm like, they'll block the video. There's sometimes, like at best, we'll put like 18 plus or something, or they will just flag it like, okay, this is like problematic shit, right? And at worst, could give you strike, which is like baseball shit. 3 strikes and you are whatever, kids.
delivering in this video, and it says at night kamikaze drones attacked the Voronezh, Tver, Oral, Belgorod, and Kursk regions, and the Russian Ministry of Defense claims that 32 UAVs were shot down, and all the damage you saw was all from that Russian debris from the drones. So let's take a look at the videos and see what that debris looked like. Oh dear, and there you can hear the drone.
Okay.
And it's flying straight over their heads right now.
Damn, alright. I don't see
you
nothing.
really can't see it in this video right here, but you can actually see. Let me go ahead and mute that, by the way.
That's the problem. I'll posted certain videos, real footage videos, not this reaction channel video. I posted videos like that on YouTube, and I realized details get crossed. I understand compression. I didn't know compression was that bad. Even 4K videos, if you put it like things will get, it's a certain creators, if you watch them and their background starts to become this pixelated because it's a certain type of color. That is the YouTube compressor. It shouldn't look like that, right? Compression fuck things up. I can see my clip, my camera footage really well. I'm pretty sure as soon as this gets posted, it will just be weird. That's why I start to put out like 2K videos now, 1440p, because at least that will look somewhat good, and most people's phone can like play 1440p now.
You can actually see the outline of the drone, but the camera resolution is low, and also it's low light outside, so you can barely see it. But the drone was flying right over their heads right there, and there was proof of some of the drones flying in that attacked those mainland Russian regions. But we also have one other video, so let's take a look. So right here in this video, we got some video evidence showing, and in a second, you're about to hear it. And major one of the drones impacting on that Russian territory, and as you can see, it set off all the car alarms in the parking lot right over here, and the Russians will have to come outside and go, "Blyat, what?"
By the way, this is real shit. I had a Harley's Poster 883. I don't know what is it in cubic inches, but I had a 2.5-inch exhaust, Kuryak Crossers. This is the first time I realized that just giving it throttle was loud enough. There was like, clipping all the alarms of all the cars that was a park outside. I'm like, what the fuck? All the cars start to be, just alarm like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Everybody like, it's in my neighborhood. Everybody come out. I'm like, okay, sorry, it's me. Yeah, I'm not putting those exhausts ever again on my bikes.
What happened out here? What happened? Not a drone attack again. They'll come outside and see that for themselves. So there you go. More evidence of the drone attack and the impacts from that and pesky debris that the Russians always talk about. But with that, we are now moving into our next post here, and this one goes to War Translated. And we've gotten yet some more positive news for Ukraine, because today we've gotten confirmation that Israel has started supplying Ukraine with Soviet and Russian-made weapons captured in Lebanon, and that was confirmed by the Telegraph. And about 60%.
Israel problem went away. What happened to that? Is that ceasefire? I thought Israel's hand was full enough.
The weapons captured by Israel during the fight against one of the proxy groups were made in the USSR and Russia, and additionally, as previously reported by an OSINT analyst, Israel is also transferring Soviet weapons captured in Syria into Ukraine. So let's take a look and see what that equipment looks like that's being sent.
Okay, it's not just that, okay, it's USSR made, we don't need it so we can give it to Ukraine. It's because USSR made weapons, Ukrainians use that since Soviet times. And as I've learned, it's not easy to switch to new technology. Like switching from Soviet plane to F-16 was hard. Just like that, switching from Soviet USSR equipments like this, switching to NATO equipment, it's pretty fucking hard. So if they already have this, they can directly use it.
And is it junk or is it good? And right here, we actually have a video showing you the equipment that's being captured, and it looks like that is indeed a KAMAZ truck right there, or some type of Russian truck, and it has a bunch of equipment in it that could
Did
be
they
useful
trust it?
to, of course, the Ukrainians, because they know how to use this equipment already. That appears to be some sort of radar of some sort, maybe a mobile one, and it looks like they've captured that, and of course, they've captured that from the proxy groups and sent that back to Ukraine for them to use against the Russians. So the equipment is making a big full circle, and it's going back to fight for democracy this time, which is a good thing to see. But with that, we're moving into our next post here, and this one's going to go to Null Reports. And we're going to switch gears to move on to a piece of info coming out of Syria, because once again, Russia's having a very hard time in Syria because they're trying to get their equipment out. And
Okay, what? Wait a minute. Didn't Syria regime change just recently happen? Shit is still going on? Like, you have problems at home. Like, why worrying about Syria? Like, I don't get it.
so far, the Syrian government would not let them dock to actually get that equipment.
Oh, okay, they're transferring equipment. That makes sense.
But unfortunately, we are hearing here from Null Reports that satellite images obtained by one of the radio companies here confirm that Russia is moving military equipment from Syria's Tartus port, and high-res photos show gear loaded onto Sparta and Sparta 2 ships, and by January the 27th, Sparta 2 had left, and while Sparta remains, now surrounded by containers. So kind of unfortunately, it looks like Russia was able to get a large portion of their equipment out, as the Syrian government did let them come back to get their stuff away from the port, and it sounds like they simply wanted the Russians to get their stuff and get out and get the Russians out of their life, kind of like a bad divorce, and it sounds like they allowed them to come back and get the toothbrush. So let's take a look at the video here and see the equipment leaving. And as you can see, there are some crates, and they are no longer. They're gone right now. And you can see there was a Sparta ship dock, and there was all them missing again from this area. And you can see there was some there, and then they went missing shortly afterwards. So unfortunately, like I said, the Russians are getting their stuff out. It's unclear exactly what the stuff is they're getting out, but it is, of course, some of their military equipment that they had left in Syria. And also, they're getting their soldiers out that were remaining behind as well. But with that, we're jumping into our next article here, and this one goes to Geo Insider. And we also have you all an update on the...
Okay, how much is there? Baltic Sea update, Sweden cable shortage. What? From the Times. Okay.
Baltic Sea situation. Of course, another undersea data cable was cut yesterday by a vessel, and they've apparently, in Sweden, they've seized 2 of those vessels suspected of cutting the cable. And today we've heard from Swedish authorities that they've boarded the vessel suspected of damaging the cable off of Gotland, and the shipping company acknowledges its ship might be involved, but emphasizes that the damage was unintentional, and new photos show one anchor missing a fluke. So there you can see right there in the picture, there is the anchor from one of these vessels, and apparently it's missing part of it that it usually is supposed to have. So very interesting to see, but nothing really conclusive off of that right there. But moving on to our next post here, we get some more information, and this one goes to Null Reports. And we can see right here that apparently the ship that damaged the Sweden-Latvia cable is linked to China allegedly, and the Vesen vessel, officially owned by a Hong Kong company, is backed by China's state-owned ICBC leasing, and
Oops, there was a mistake. Oops. Okay, why did mistake happen to this specific country? Oops. I don't know. Obviously, that's a reach to say like that was intentional, but shit. But then again, China's economy is 20 trillion. So the more people do, the more like chance of error coming from them. So the more Chinese ships are out there, that's how statistics work. There's a higher chance of American and Chinese ships being involved in something than anything else, because that's how it works. But yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. As I'm talking, sun is going down and like changing the light apparently.
Sweden has launched a sabotage investigation and detained the vessel. So once again, not much is known right now about the vessel, and the details really are not clear right now, but it sounds like it could be either Russian or Chinese owned vessels doing this sabotage. And once again, it's just an allegation of sabotage right now. It's not been proven, but it looks like that's currently what the investigators are finding out, and that is what they're going to keep looking at to confirm that.
That's the problem. You can't really prove that. Nobody will be able to prove that. Oh, it's a mistake. What do you want me to do?
That is indeed true or false. But moving on to our next post, this one goes to OSINT Defender. And you all might remember that Belarus just elected their new president, the new guy, the Lukashenko. They elected him with like 87% of the vote or something crazy like that, some high percentage, which seems a little bit unbelievable. But now we've heard in a joint statement the UK, Canada, and the European Union, Australia, and New Zealand have condemned the sham election of Alexander Lukashenko in Belarus yesterday. It's pretty clear here what happened in Belarus, with 87% of the vote going toward basically a dictator, which is Lukashenko. It was a sham election. That's pretty much how it is, and that's pretty much all there is to discuss about.
Why not 93? Why not 95? Why? Do they have to keep 13% off? It's just like, okay, I guess nobody's going to suspect anything if we keep 13%.
And that's no new secret. It's not that shocking. But with that, we're moving on to our next post here, and this one goes to Max24, and we do have a prediction here from the Times. And once again, the Times is not always on point with their predictions. Honestly, they're kind of all over the place. But on this one, I actually do agree with it. It says here in the post that the United States...
Yeah, I never even thought for a second Trump will ever be able to create peace. Maybe delay it. And it's not just about Trump. It's like anyone. Doesn't matter who you elect. It's not going to be able to do it. The shit has gone far enough. For Ukraine, it's like either do or die because they're in too much. For Russia, it's also do or die. They are in way too much. They're supposed to be superpower of the world. And this war basically put the egg on their head, right? People are actually like, start to say, wait a minute, Russia might not be so powerful as we thought. So at this point, they need results. If they just back away and like leave Ukraine, what's all that for? At that point, there will be like some kind of a revolution in Russia. That's not good for Putin, right? So he has to take Ukraine. Ukrainian doesn't want their country to go away because who the fuck would? This is a scenario where like what's gonna happen, man? I said that when it started. Like if nobody stops, this shit will come. Like nobody will be able to back down. If nobody backs down, it's like it's a weird lock, man. No American president will be able to do anything unless they go completely aggressive. And like, if you don't agree to this term, I'm going to attack you type of shit. But that's not going to end well because it's like, like the kind of like Mexican stand or whatever, right? Like with guns pointing to everybody's faces. You never know who pulls the trigger. If everybody pulls the trigger, we are all fucked.
Will not be able to create peace conditions that will suit Putin because he seeks to turn Ukraine into a satellite state, and that Putin does not need Ukraine as an independent state, and Russia's war is not aimed at capturing territories, but the goal is instead much deeper. And honestly, I do agree with this. Like I said, I don't think there will be any peace conditions that are suitable to Putin except for unconditional surrender by Ukraine, and of course, that is not an option on the table. So either Putin's country is going to collapse or Ukraine's going to defeat Russia on the battlefield. That's probably the way it's going to go, but it sounds like the peace talks are really not chalking up to be very viable.
That's not how it's gonna go, man. Putin's gonna defeat, Ukraine's gonna win. How? Again, okay, are you gonna say how? Doesn't matter how much you say like their equipment suck or not. Their equipment is equipment. They have nukes, whether it works or not. You don't want their back against the wall because at that point, at desperate times, they could do anything. Doesn't matter how bad you think Russia's equipment is, they still have nukes. They still have enough equipment that checks certain level above, right? This height or above, Russia checks that height. Doesn't matter if other superpowers are much higher, they cross certain threshold where it's like they're dangerous enough. With the nukes and all that shit, where with North Korea, probably Iran, China secretly behind their back, how is Russia going to lose, man? It's just going to be how bad it's going to be, right? In the end, we might all get fucked because of some kind of a nuclear fallout. That's what's going to happen. If you think like that, okay, Putin's going to lose, he's going to slide away slowly, Russia's going to change completely, and then they're never going to use nukes, I don't see that, man.
Once again. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Disclose TV. And we're getting a very good suggestion from Poland's president, Duda. He's saying that the Nord Stream gas pipeline should be dismantled so that Germany would not be tempted to restore Russian supplies. I would say that's a good idea. The European countries should stop buying Russian products because while they're out there yapping about...
Yeah, Poland. Look, Poland, I don't think you should talk about Germany right now because in the past, Germany wasn't so keen about you. Right, let's just keep friends there. But I don't know. I think it's already like I see where he's coming from, but I don't know. It's up to Germany at that point.
Ending the Ukraine war, they're buying Russian products and thus basically investing in keeping the war going on Russia's side. So they should dismantle that pipeline. They should get rid of it. And Europe should wake up and stop buying Russian products before they find themselves in a bad situation with Russia attacking their country.
You should dismantle the pipeline so Germany is not like tempted in the future. Germany's like, what am I, child? Don't talk like that.
So that is a good suggestion, and once again, the voice of reason coming from Poland. But with that, folks, we are now moving on to our last article of the day, and I think you're all going to like this one quite a bit, because we heard today that the Enforcer has entered the Baltic Sea. And as you can see right here, the Enforcer, flying the Netherlands flag apparently, has entered the Baltic Sea, and they are now currently there for some unknown reason. And we actually have a GIF here showing you the Enforcer entering the Baltic Sea. And there it is. Look at that. We're entering the sea, and we're helping to protect the NATO infrastructure just like that. But anyways, folks, just a little joke there at the end of the video. Just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was pretty funny. Some ship is actually called Enforcer.
This is like, that like loading screen started in my head. Like, what the fuck? Did he do something? What is happening? Is he funding some shit? What is happening? Okay, it was a joke.
With the Netherlands flag on it, and they've actually gone into the Baltic. So quite interesting to see. But with that, that is actually our last post of the day.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, all this shit happened 3 weeks ago. I guess developments are still happening, but this was big one to me as soon as I read the title. North Korean troops withdraw. I don't know more details, like, okay, why are they doing that? Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to train and put them back in, because otherwise, what was the deal for? And yeah, all the shit is happening. I don't see Russia just backing down. That whole element of how what's going to happen is Russia's going to be bankrupt, collapse, Ukraine's going to win. What is this, like Hollywood movie? No, that shit is never going to happen. In the end times, remember, like all the other places around the world, there have been people who's in charge, who are dictators, right? Who's used chemical weapons on their own people. And that economy was really bad compared to Russia. So there are layers to this, right? There's going to be layers like, I care about my economy. Oh, I care about war now. Oh, I don't care about my people anymore, because I'll worry about my people later. I just need to win. Oh, I can't win now. I guess I do have nuclear weapons. The layers are insane. The layers go lower and lower. So if you think like Ukraine's just going to win with the help of the other countries and Russia's just going to lose and like walk away, yeah, that's never going to happen, right? In the end, Russia might even interpret like, we wouldn't have lost if other countries didn't intervene. So we might as well be at war with other countries like NATO countries and like things like that. You could say, oh, they could never win. This is not a video game, man. Sure, Russia can't win, but Russia fight back, launches few nukes. That's devastating enough, man. Few major countries gets nuked. We are fucked. Our world is like very delicate threats, right? We need to absolutely defend it. If we can't, even if some of that goes, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Like nuclear fallout might be imminent. Who the fuck knows? So I hope there's peace, even though I don't see it. But I don't know, man. Right, well, those North Korean troops withdraw from Kursk. Russia warns of mass bankruptcy by the Enforcer. If you like my subscribe, and I'll see you next time.